this line for we've been in this line for over 40 years, and our focus is on breeding the better palm. We have produced the Sampurna, and it is doing well. It is exported. It's doing well abroad, internationally. And so I would like to share some of my experiences which we learned about this palm and about coconut farming in general through our research department. In the first place, I would like to just talk about the very many products that come from the coconut palm, from the tree, from the nut, from the fruit. There are so many products. There are the traditional products that the world knows about in terms of virgin coconut oil, coconut flour. You can get every product to replace the dairy industry. So you can get coconut cream, cheese, butter, oil, yogurt. So it completely can replace the the dairy industry. So there are a whole lot of products, food products, health products, as well as other products from the tree itself. Activated carbon, the best activated carbon in the world comes from coconut shell. Few people know that coconut timber is one of the strongest timbers. It's got a higher specific density than teak. It's got a reinforcement of fibers. That's why you will rarely, if ever, see a coconut tree that's snapped in the middle during a severe storm. You might have them pulled out of the ground, or the head might snap off, but the timber doesn't break. And I see this becoming very valuable in countries whose houses basically have a skeleton of timber. In Europe, in the US, and they clad the timber 2x4s and 2x3s and 2x2s with cladding material, and they build a house. I see that happening, the replacement of pine wood with timber. But there are so many other products as well. We have heard of the latest products, vegan leather. We've heard about straws made from the coconut leaf. And now recently, just last week, I was discussing with a team of inventors who had come up with a new way to make cultures and mediums for laboratories and research stations, and to do it at 1/15 the cost. And there are all these things coming about because of the coconut tree. Now, these are the traditional products. And these traditional products are growing around the world. The markets are growing. We are not directly into export of these products, so I'm not an expert in that area. But I do know that the markets around the world are growing by a certain percentage, which is not as what it really is. It really is much more, but there isn't enough supplies. So the growth is based on how much more supply is there. And as the supply grows more and more, the products and the markets and the reach of the coconut tree will be much further. What about the non-traditional types of coconut products? There are a whole, I mentioned vegan leather. Did you know that dashboards of cars are now being made from coir with resin? And they found that the coir is a better product to make dashboards in cars and vehicles and trucks. And there isn't enough. So it's only making dashboards for trucks today because the driver of the truck lives in his truck much more than a normal driver. And the gases coming out of basically it is the oils, the traditional, I can't get the word, I'm sorry, but gasoline and petroleum oils produce your dashboards. Now they're making them out of coconut coir without the damage and the risk and the danger. Pith is now a greatly in demand around the world in nurseries, by landscapers and others, because of no release of methane, which was happening by the removal of peat from the ground, and that's been banned in many countries. Something very good and new that I'd like to add here is that coconut oil is a traditional oil, but palm oil is the most produced. It's 50% of the world's requirement of edible oil, and that's because it's the cheapest. But there was no alternative to palm oil. Now there is. The new hybrids, the Sampurna we produces more edible oil than palm oil does on an average. And therefore, to help save the forests and various other things, there's another alternative today. What else can I tell you about? The coconut tree is very environmentally friendly. It allows almost any form of cultivation underneath. It's one of the best carbon sequestering agents around the world. And because it allows any form of agriculture underneath, you're actually virtually doubling the use of land. Land is restricted, and there isn't enough of land. And getting 2 crops from that land is doubling the use of the land or doubling the area of land. So the coconut tree does that. Few people have actually realized how important the coconut tree has been throughout the world. It's called the tree of life in some countries. Kerala in India is named after the coconut tree. And but few people know that the borders, the languages, the cultures of countries have changed because of the coconut tree. So these are some of the extraordinary factors which we'll talk about on another day. But right now, let's come back to this subject of why the potential for coconut farming and coconut value addition is huge. It's because, as I mentioned earlier, the coconut tree and the coconut are so very versatile. Earlier, we did not know how best we could get the best results. There were traditional ways to get the best results from the coconut tree. But today, our research department has been able to not only get such very good results, but also understand the reasons for it. And I'd like to share that, because not only we have today a coconut tree, the hybrids in all over the world produce much more, and the special and the super hybrids produce even more. But not only we have the tree, we also have the methodology to help the tree achieve that type of performance and result. And it's a very simple solution. The solution is fertigation given at least once a week. And we've come to this conclusion after getting quite surprisingly wonderful results in our research when we did this. And we learned from the evolution of the coconut tree. We realized the coconut tree evolved on the tropical beaches of the world. We know that the tropical beaches are not the most productive soil. And yet the trees that grow on the beach produce more and better than the trees which are growing 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 kilometers away from the beach. Studying this, doing experiments, we've slowly come to realize that it's the beach, not the beach, it's the tides of the sea that come in every day, bring with them a lot of nutrition. And the water table rises, and nutrition water rises and the roots get hold of this every day without a loss of oxygen. I can come to the nutrition of a plant on another day. It's a very interesting subject also. But just looking at this point I'm raising now, the daily nourishment of the tree by giving it food dissolved in water, which is picked up by the roots directly without the need for bacteria to digest and produce the food for the tree, makes this tree special, and not just special, that makes it unique. Do you know of any other tree in the world that actually produces its leaves, branches, flowers, pollination, fertilization, seeds, and fruit consecutively? I mean, not consecutively, all at the same time. All other trees do it consecutively, but the coconut tree does it all at the same time for its lifetime, 60 years. All these functions are happening together. And the tree, normal fruit trees, have time to build up their reserves of micronutrition, special elements that are needed for special parts of the development of the fruit. But the coconut tree is doing it every day. We have seen farms which produce 425 nuts per tree per year, which means you're getting over a nut per day. And this is one of the best advantages of the coconut tree for the farmer. The farmer gets a monthly regular income, unlike any other form of agriculture. And that helps him a great deal. And as the world and the nations around the world realize this, the tropical nations, they will focus more and more on the coconut tree. So there are so many of these advantages. And now the management of what I was mentioning, I've gone off the point slightly, forgive me, at the point that fertigation, giving the nutrition, the annual nutrition, divided into 52 doses every week, gives you quite phenomenal performance. The genetic capacity of the tree is the easier reached through fertigation. In fact, we are telling our customers that if you're not going to keep fertigation, install fertigation, it could be manual also. It could be a simple Venturi system. It could be a highly complicated automatic system. If you're not going to do that, we cannot really tell you you're going to get the best results. In fact, you won't get the best results. And therefore, today we have a coconut tree that not only is highly productive, in fact, one expert has estimated that the new hybrids produce more food than any other crop on a per acre or per hectare basis. What do we mean by that? More food in the form of calories is produced by the coconut tree than any other plant on earth. Now, that's quite phenomenal. And that is achieved by fertigation, which is an easy process, which saves labor, and which makes coconut farming far easier and much more predictable. So thank you, friends. I wanted to tell you why the value of exports is going and zooming around the world, because they're very, very good products. All the products are very good, and more products are being invented. We also have the value of the palm itself going up, because people now realize how it lends itself for maximum production. So we have both a high demand around the world, growing in almost every sector of value addition. And we have knowledge how to manage the tree better, with better performance and productivity, with lesser costs. Thank you very much. I look forward to questions so that I could give you information in areas I didn't think of earlier.
Hello?
Yes, I just
Okay,
completed my
I
talk.
lost the voice actually. Okay.
Oh, I just
Yeah.
completed the talk.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you for the detailed talk. So I'll now take up some questions.
Certainly.
First question, what are the most promising value-added products from coconuts in the international market?
I think the most promising or the most that will grow in demand is virgin coconut oil. Can I give you a few details about it?
Yes, sir, sure.
Virgin coconut oil is the richest source in nature for lauric acid. You will realize that mothers giving birth to their babies in hospitals rarely bring home a baby who's picked up some infection from the hospital. And that's because mother's milk has lauric acid. And lauric acid not only supports the immune system, but is a viricide, a germicide, a bactericide as well, fungicide as well. Lauric acid becomes monolaurin in our system, and that in turn kills. I think research is done with 16 viruses, where monolaurin kills 16 viruses. A whole lot of other viruses have to be checked out. So far, every lipid-coated virus is affected by monolaurin. And 16 viruses have been checked out, which includes HIV and the flu virus. And I'd give you an example of my own example at home during the flu epidemic. My wife and I take it. My daughter is not able to take it for various reasons. She got the COVID. We looked after her, but we did not get COVID. This was before the vaccines came in onto the scene. So I do believe this is the healthiest product on earth for good well-being. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay. So next question, how can small-scale farmers tap into the export potential of coconut-derived products?
Small-scale farmers will always have a problem trying to export their products because their products are far too little in very small quantities and therefore difficult to export. I think the easiest way is for them together with a farmers producing company, in a farmer producing company, working together can export their products. And there are many such in the country that have come up, and some of them are extremely successful. So working together as a group can open up huge opportunities. But let me also add, while I'm sort of demotivating the small farmer to some extent, I also want to tell him that there are many products that can be made, value-added products at a farmer level. Virgin coconut oil is one of them. Tender coconut water, coconut sugar, coconut syrup, coconut honey. Many of these products can be made at a village level, and a small cooperative could export them or market them to nearby towns, export them to nearby towns, and even through a bigger cooperative, export them abroad.
Okay, right. And next question, Are there emerging technologies that can improve the efficiency of producing coconut value added products?
Each coconut value added product has its own technology. Some of these products are well known around the world, and there's constant research going on. I don't think there's any single special technology that makes for better value addition or easier value addition. I think they're all progressing systematically. Maybe I could think of one product which has recently come on the market that helps in the collection of automatically of coconut nira. That's the fresh nectar from which the toddy tapper gets out of the coconut flower on a daily basis. That's been automated by an inventor from Kerala. Vijay, his name is, I can't remember the full name. So that has made things easier. Yes, certainly. I hope I've answered your question. I don't think there's any specific new technology, but I did talk about a new product that has come out that is meant for media and cultures, for the pharmaceutical industry, for the medical industry, for the laboratories, and for tissue culture labs, and so on.
Okay, right. And next question. What are the challenges in creating sustainable value added coconut industries and how can they be addressed?
Just repeat the question. What are the
Challenges in
uh,
creating sustainable value added coconut industries and how can they be addressed?
Well, one of the main challenges in India, because I would presume most of our viewers will be in India, is the fact that we have uh, a land ceiling for agriculture. Around the world, value addition has grown much more. Even small countries like Thailand and Sri Lanka, the largest processing plant in Sri Lanka processes 1 million coconuts every day. The largest in India, built to process 200,000, is getting only 50 or 60,000 coconuts a day. So if value, the industrialist had the security of having at least 5,000 acres of his own, he can then buy out from neighboring farmers, contract with them, tie up with them, and buy out more than what he produces. But what he produces serves as security for his requirement when the markets suddenly change and nobody supplies him. What does he do? That's the problem in India. So if this was one that was sorted out and agriculture is a state subject, I think the first state that addresses this would have a lot of advantage.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything more special to be said on this subject.
Okay, right. Yeah. Next question. How does the global demand for coconut oil and coconut water impact the pricing and production strategies?
The global demand for oil, already coconut oil is the most expensive edible oil in India. Yes, olive oil coming from Europe is more costly. But coconut oil, comparing with other oils, is definitely much more expensive. So output is the cost of production. The greater the output, the lower the cost of production. So how can we bring production costs down? How do we take up productivity? All your value-added products will become cheaper if the cost of the raw material was cheaper. So there are two ways for this. One is genetics that will improve the tree's output and performance. And the second is management, quality and ease of management. Both of these I've spoken about a little earlier. The genetics of the tree, if it can give you 250 plus nuts, will automatically make your raw material costs 1/3 of all the other trees in the marketplace. So getting a good tree that gives you highest productivity and giving it management that gives you the highest productivity brings your costs down by 2/3. Nobody can compete with that if a farmer is able to do that. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And what role do certifications, for example, organic or fair trade, play in increasing the value of coconut products internationally?
Yes, certainly. I'm sure they would. Fair trade as well as organic certification. Unfortunately, my experience shows that many organic certifiers are more interested in the profit they make than in assisting and helping the small farmer get the proper certification in the right way. So I don't complain about anyone in particular, but in general, if that could be improved, certainly it would help.
Okay. And could you provide insights into innovative uses of coconut byproducts like husk and shells?
Yes, I'm happy to. I did mention a little bit. I'll repeat some of that. Coconut pith, which 20 years ago we saw mountains of it. I traveled through Tamil Nadu and the areas where coconuts are grown in Karnataka. You'd see mountains of coconut pith. That's a little powder that comes out of the husk when you remove the coir. Today, you can't get it because value addition of that product has suddenly been discovered as a wonderful replacement to peat. Peat is taken out from bogs, mined from there in Europe and in the US and other developed countries, and it's greatly used in nurseries and so on. But that's been banned because they find the release of methane gas is very high. And therefore, they banned it. And then the industry started looking at alternatives and found coconut pit could do. And then they found that coconut pit was actually better than peat. And today, that's a huge industry and being exported all over the world. The coir, too, which was taken out and used traditionally, I mentioned, is now used in the making of dashboards. But they only make dashboards for trucks. Why? Because they can't get enough coir to make dashboards for every car. And they just add a resin, and that's a more stable product, less inflammable, therefore safer, and does not release a carcinogenic gas, which the petroleum-based products give. The traditional dashboard in cars and trucks is from a petroleum base.
Okay.
And I also mentioned, may I just interrupt you? I also mentioned about coconut wood. It will come into its own once people realize what a strong and valuable wood it is. Houses in Europe and in the US are made out of 2x3s and 3x4s as pillars, and then they put in board, nail in board, and complete the house very quickly. But that's fragile because they use pine, and that's easily blown away in a very strong storm. I don't think it would happen if coconut wood was used. The drawback is that coconut wood is very heavy. Though it's very, very strong, it's also very heavy and a little more difficult to work with. But with automation and with automatic drills and screwing machines to put a screw into the wood, it's not a problem abroad. So once people discover this, I see a huge market for old coconut trees being felled and sawn and sold for timber purposes.
Okay, right. And are there specific regions or countries that offer better opportunities for exporting coconut products?
I think certain countries are much better than India because India doesn't have such a great value addition uh, as compared to, let's say, Thailand or Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka produces a range of products. Even the water from a mature coconut is now harvested and sold. Whereas in India, most of that gets wasted because we don't have systems to develop it. And the reason is because most of our coconuts are sold locally. There's a local demand. The wet market, that's for kitchens and food, and many places in the country uh, use the coconut very freely in its food and for temple usages. Consequently, there isn't that enough amount left over for value addition. So when somebody comes into the market and buys out 100,000 coconuts, the prices go so high that his economics collapses. So it's a vicious cycle. Uh, we've got to be able to have more coconuts so that the prices are low, so that the value addition can go up, or we have to wait for the international market for prices to go up so that even high prices we can generate value added products.
Okay,
In countries like in Indonesia, there are islands where nobody even harvests the coconuts even today. Therefore, someone who finds a way to harvest those nuts has an advantage. In India, we should focus on good management and using the best of genetic material. And one can cope and compete with anyone around the world. Are there any more questions?
yes, sir. Just a couple of more questions.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
how can farmers diversify their income using lesser known parts of the coconut palm like leaves or sap?
Well, um, as I said, virgin coconut oil is certainly a product which is made from the fresh kernel of the coconut. The cost of virgin coconut oil is more than 6 or 7 times more than coconut oil on a per liter basis. Our farmers must remember that they'll get less virgin coconut oil from each coconut than coconut oil from the same coconut. Means coconut oil comes from the copra. Virgin coconut oil comes from the fresh kernel. A process takes place in drying and the quantity of oil increases. So that's a product. Instead of producing coconut oil or producing copra or ball copra for selling to the oil millers, they can produce virgin coconut oil. I think that's about the easiest way for them in a small cooperative, a farmer producer company with quality norms in place, quality standards. I think that's about the easiest product today for a farmer to double his income.
Okay. And what support is available for farmers transitioning to producing high quality value added coconut products?
I think the Coconut Development Board, the CDB, is doing a lot of good work. They are encouraging farmer producer companies more than the individual, but they are encouraging in many places with subsidies and a lot of support programs. Is there a better way to do it? I'm not sure. I am not in that space. But by and large, our governments have been positive and supportive of value addition and exports. But we need to organize marketing better so that everybody producing even small quantities can get it marketed subject to quality control.
Okay. Okay, sir. I think, okay, there are no more questions. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we'd like to thank you for a detailed talk and answering all the questions in depth. So we'll be ending this meeting now.
Thank you. I
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
the opportunity to share what I know, and I'm very excited about the coconut tree. And I hope everybody gets part of that excitement. And I look forward to wonderful things happening. Thank you very
Sure,
much.
sure, sir. Yeah, thank you.